Hey guys, before the video does start, I do want to ask all of you that do watch my channel quite often to do me a quick favor down in the comments down below. If you guys do want to skip this portion of the video and you don't care, just skip to the time on screen wherever it is. But for those of you guys that do watch my channel quite a bit, whether it be the Twitch channel or just the YouTube channel, or you follow me on Twitter, do everything in between. For any of you guys that do care a lot about my content, you guys obviously know for Save the World right now that content is quite dry at the moment and there's not really too much to cover. Hence why I'm actually doing a video on the Heartbreaker today. I want to ask all of you that really do care a lot about this channel if you could leave your opinions or your suggestions in the comments down below as to what type of content you guys want me to cover over this next week. It could be re-reviews, it could be commentaries, it could be top fives, tier list, anything like that. If you could try to be as specific as possible, ask me what types of videos you all want to see, and I will try my best to deliver on that to keep this week kind of up to date with actual Save the World videos, as Epic Games really isn't giving me all too much to work with leading up until season 12. If you could do that for me in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it, and it really does mean a lot to me, as I really want to upload videos, but I just don't know what to upload, and there's not too much new stuff happening until season 12, or season 2, whatever you want to call it. So if you guys could do that for me in the comment section, would really mean a lot. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and enjoy the video. Alrighty boys, welcome back once again to another video. How you guys doing? Guys, today we're going to be going over a very interesting weapon, something that has been around for nearly 3 years now. I've never even made a weapon review on the weapon, but probably for good reason. We'll find out in today's video. But it's something I've never personally, covered myself, and seeing as the game is extremely slow right now, leading up until 12.0, I figured this video would be better than no video. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Valentines crossbow, known as the Heartbreaker, within Fortnite Save the World. Never personally reviewed this weapon until today, and I got a few interesting things to say about it. I know we've been having a lot of normal bows come out recently, so the last thing you probably want to hear about is a crossbow, but this thing re-released Friday, and I figured why not make a video on it if I haven't covered it yet. So that's why we're actually seeing today's video even being made. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So if you guys do want to get yourself the Heartbreaker and pick it up for yourself, all you got to do is head on over to the event shop. You can pick it up for $16.80 gold, and yeah, for that low price you can get yourself a gold and pink and white little Valentine's crossbow. Now, going on to take a look at the stats for this weapon as well as the perks. For me personally, I decided to put energy on it with a damage, reload speed, crit rating, and crit damage. And this weapon is a very interesting last perk, something I wish more weapons would have because it's practically just free damage. 30% extra damage when aiming down the sights, aka looking down the scope of the weapon. So, technically we really have two 30% damage perks on top of the crit rating and the crit damage and the reload. So, some pretty decent, perk synergy that you got going on there. The damage, we got 65,000. The headshot damage is absolutely insane at almost 100,000 more. 38% crit hit chance, a 285% crit hit damage, although that is without Rabbit Raider Jonesy in the commander slot. I think the base is around 75%, which is, better than average. A .55 fire rate, 4 in the mag, unlimited range, 1.7 reload, and 4,471 as your impact. The hero loadout that I ended up using in today's video was Sub-Zero Zenith as my commander, which I'll explain later. Totally rocking out as a team perk to try to squeeze out as much potential as this weapon had. Battle Beat Subwoofers, Quick Scope for the damage, Locked and Reloaded for the damage after reload, and Sure Shot for the crit damage. So let's talk about the Heartbreaker with all of that in mind, with those perks, with that hero loadout. What do I think about the Heartbreaker up front? I think it's better than expected, actually. This weapon was actually a lot better than I thought it would be, especially seeing as it is a very, old weapon. Normally weapons will get a very bad case of the coronavirus, the power creep symptoms, where they have an issue where, weapons come out over time, and then the base game weapons, the weapons that existed longer, are slowly just going to get worse and worse as new weapons get added to the game. The biggest example of this would be the Mythic Storm King weapons. With the Mythic Storm King sword, the Spectral Blade is 100,000% useless in every single scenario under the sun. And so that is what we would consider power creep. Now, surprisingly, the Heartbreaker hasn't really been power crept all that much and still stands the test of time as being something that is usable, actually, for a change. A few interesting things about the Heartbreaker that I personally did like before we do get into the dislikes is the fact that, number one, the Heartbreaker can actually pierce enemies, meaning that if you do line them up and a lot of enemies happen to have, some hefty health, you are able to hit multiple enemies that are in a group that are coming towards you. Now, the reason I'm using Zenith in my commander is the synergy that Zenith has with this piercing, allowing you to freeze multiple enemies with one shot, and I found that, well, that was actually really fun to do. So I did enjoy Zenith more than I enjoyed Rabbit Raider Jonesy, although Rabbit Raider Jonesy is probably where you want to go for the damage department. I'm just kind of, using this weapon more so for fun, because the weapon's really already on the lower tier whenever it comes to the arsenal, so why not have some fun with it whenever you're using it. So, one fact that I liked about this weapon, obviously I did like the piercing. Another thing, I love the headshot damage. This thing has some insane headshot damage. Like I said, almost 100,000 more on the base stats page whenever it comes to actually hitting a headshot with it. So you do have some headshot potential there. The only issue being is that this is a bow, and people already don't like going for headshots on real weapons. So whenever you're shooting, a projectile, it makes it even more frustrating. So going for headshot specifically is probably not a good idea. Another thing I like about the weapon is the crit hit damage being 75 instead of 50%. Another thing I like about the weapon is the mag size. You can actually shoot 4 of these before you have a longer reload. Obviously, you guys know that I like the 6th perk on it, and the unlimited range is something that I do like about this weapon as well. So, the Heartbreaker does have a few good things going for it, although it's not all fine and dandy whenever it comes to this weapon, as there are definitely its downsides. Now, the downsides that the weapon has, my main honest, critique with the weapon overall, is that it just doesn't hit hard. This thing is classified as a sniper rifle, and it being a sniper rifle, I feel as though it should hit a little bit harder than it does. Although Epic Games did say in one of their more recent posts that they do plan on buffing weapons like these, the more long-standing weapons that have got a little bit of power creep on them. So maybe perhaps in the future we will see it perform a bit better, but it is listed as a sniper rifle. I feel as though it should do more damage. I think I was hitting around 520k in a solo mission on a smasher, this being physical, and I'm already using Totally Rocking Out for damage buffs and getting crit and all that kind of stuff, and if I'm only hitting 520 on a sniper rifle, I feel like if it was around 700k I might be a little bit more happy. Given the fact that it can pierce and it does have 4 in the mag, you shouldn't make it extremely overpowered, but at the same time I just found myself being a little bit more inconsistent with the damage that I'd like. Speaking of inconsistencies, the other thing that I dislike about this weapon is the crit hit chance only being 38%. If this thing had been 43%, hell, if this thing had 48%, that would be insane for the Heartbreaker. Only having to have 1 crit rating for 48% crit hit chance would be absolutely crazy. If it was buffed to, from the base 10% to either 15 or 20%, this thing would honestly be a very, very valued weapon by me personally, as my main critique is just the fact that it doesn't really excel well, even with Totally Rocking Out, whenever you have a crit build. It just has those inconsistencies because it is a slower firing weapon, and with slower firing weapons, you are gonna find that, whenever you don't crit, it's gonna be frustrating. And because the base damage of this weapon is a bit, more low than I'd like, whenever it doesn't crit, you feel it even more. You got weapons like the Night Owl. Those things do insane amounts of damage per shot. You can go crazy with the amount of damage you can do with the Night Owl. Not saying it's a good weapon, it's just you can get high damage numbers with it. And it kind of makes it feel as though, hey, I earned that crit. I'm very glad I got that crit. And with this weapon, even when you do crit, you don't really get too high of damage numbers, so you don't really feel like the payoff whenever you finally get it. So whenever you do miss it, it feels even worse. I like the Heartbreaker, in all honesty. I mean, just being honest here, I like the Heartbreaker. I just think that if they buff the crit hit chance and the base damage, it would actually be a pretty decent crossbow. I enjoyed using it way more than I thought I would, as it was something that I thought, whenever I perk it up, I'm gonna immediately hate it and trash it and talk bad about it in a YouTube video. But this little thing has potential. It's not something that should necessarily be slept on, but it's not something you should be perking up either, if you catch my drift. If Epic Games takes a look at this weapon, it would definitely be viable in the future. It's got the potential, it just needs a few different tweaks, and it could be, definitely viable in the end game, in my opinion. The piercing, the multiple freezes, with stuff like the range and the magazine size and the final perk and the synergy between perks, it's got a lot of potential there, just lacking in a few different areas, in my opinion. But guys, that's pretty much it for the video on the Heartbreaker. I hope you guys did enjoy my opinion opinions on it. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty decent weapon overall. It definitely surprised me more than I, figured it would, but all in all, it's still a weapon that you probably shouldn't perk up, and it's a weapon that, it just kind of exists for now. If Epic Games touches it though, then I would definitely be excited to see how exactly this weapon will stand up, if it does, of course, receive those buffs. But guys, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your opinions down in the comments down below about the Heartbreaker. For me personally, definitely a surprise, but not so much of one to where I want to use it all the time. Guys, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.